Hi, everybody. This is Lori, and this is our podcast, Inclusivity Podcast. My usual my co-hosts are Dana and Leah, and they are not here today. But if you watched our last episode, it was an interview with Dana, and the episode before that was an interview with Leah, who's just joined me on the podcast. So this is our third episode. Our podcast partners are Alliance for Sustainability and Black Iowa News, and Dana is the founder of Black Iowa News, so we interviewed her last time. Today, we are incredibly fortunate to have with us Terry Gips, who is the founder of Alliance for Sustainability. We are also partners with our own Facebook group, which is called Inclusivi-TEA Collaborative. And we're excited to be here. Our message on Inclusivity Podcast is grab a cup of tea, join us for a very short 15-minute conversation about creating a sustainable future, where sustainable means protecting the earth and protecting every creature who lives here. So Terry, thank you so much for being here on behalf of the Alliance.
It's a delight to be able to be here. And also, Lori, we're very, very happy to be partners with you on this wonderful, podcast that you've created. So thanks.
Well, you're so welcome. And Terry, I would love it if you could just share a little bit about the Alliance, how it came to be, what it is, what the mission is, what sustainability means to the Alliance, and then tell us what's going on now and what we can do to be involved.
Sure, that sounds great. Well, I had the Alliance is almost 40 years old, and we have been working on the overall concept of sustainability since our very beginnings, which really came from my having the opportunity to travel around the world and try to find out whether it was possible if we could feed everybody on the planet without destroying the earth in the process. And the answer was yes. And I met extraordinary leaders from around the world, and then they became the leadership for the Alliance for Sustainability. Originally, we were the International Alliance for Sustainable Agriculture, and then after our greatest success, which was at the UN Earth Summit in Rio in 1992, we were able to get all 179 countries attending the UN Earth Summit there to adopt sustainable agriculture as a goal. So we made the switch to overall sustainability, which we always cared about. And we really came up with one of the first definitions ever of what sustainability is. And we define it as being ecologically sound, economically viable, socially just, and humane, meaning to embody our highest values in terms of how we treat people, animals, and the planet. And so we've been working on a number of different aspects over the years, from solar to working with cities, with congregations, with young people, businesses, all different types of institutions. And then we were deeply affected, actually 2 years ago, by the horrific murder of George Floyd, which actually happened this day 2 years ago. And we really felt we needed to take action. We've always been concerned and working on social justice, but we felt we really needed to center equity at the core of everything that we do. And so we sort of went through a several months long process amidst COVID, amidst these challenges from the climate crisis, threats to democracy, and we wanted to see how can we respond in a way that could be really effective and impactful to help bring about this shift. And we decided we would create a campaign called the She Kindness Campaign, standing for sustainability, health, equity, and kindness. And we feel all those four, well, let's say, health, equity, and kindness are all part of sustainability, but we wanted to call them out so that people could actually see them and respond to them depending on what their particular interests and concerns were. So we began that a little over, just under 2 years ago. And what we really felt with that was how can we really bring about personal and organizational transformation, and at the same time uh, bring about shifts in public policy to bring about fundamental systems change. And so that's what it's been about. Our goal is to reach more than 1 million members and individuals um, and organizations that share this commitment. So the very first thing we did in launching the campaign was develop what we call our Declaration of Co-Creation and Interdependence, which is really our bold statement about who we feel we want to be in the world. And it's also an invitation for other individuals and groups to join us. So people can sign that at our website, which is www.afors.org, standing for Alliance for Sustainability. And people can sign that. We would really welcome people signing it and also going further and sharing it with other people so that they can be aware of it. The next thing we did is we launched what we call is our She Kindness business program. And the business program is we began with Target, and we did a presentation for several hundred Target employees, and we were pleased to have you involved as part of that She Kindness presentation. And we're going to be expanding that and reaching out to many, many more companies. So if anybody has a business, we'd be very interested in doing a presentation and really helping to support the business and how they can bring about She Kindness. The third area that we've worked in is on public policy. So we have a weekly Take Action where we take on a particular issue on a wide range of issues, mostly at the federal level, but we do some, let's say in the state of Minnesota or in a mixture of states when we feel state action is what is needed. So we've been addressing those for quite some time and really encourage people to join us with that. And one of the simplest ways of doing that is to just sign up for our free e-newsletter. It comes out every week, and it's filled with, nice, short, powerful pieces about all different aspects of sustainability and She Kindness overall. And so in that, we carry our Take Action. So it's very simple. You just click on it. It takes 30 seconds to be able to send a message to elected officials to help bring about change. So that we feel is really important. Then the last thing that we're doing is our She Kindness School program. And we're going to be launching that in the fall officially. And what that is a opportunity to take our message about She Kindness into at least 20 schools, 10 of which are in underserved communities across the country. And what we want to do is really inspire and inform young people in middle school and in high school about how they can be involved in She Kindness. And what we're doing is asking them, each student, to make a commitment to really take on a challenge in one of each of those 4 areas of sustainability, health, equity, and kindness, and to do that for 1 month. And we hope it'll become a habit. And once that becomes a habit, we hope that they'll want to take on some of the others that they could do, make a difference. And we're going to offer prizes to the students for meeting those challenges. And then we're going to compile how much of an impact that has actually had for each student, and then also for their whole school to look at that impact. And we're also going to have what we call our She Kindness Creativity Prize. So this is a way of encouraging students to come up with their own expressions about what is She Kindness to them. And that can be in the form of poetry or an essay, could be humor, it could be a TikTok video, could be a dance, a rap song, whatever form that they would like. And we'll have great prizes for that as well. And the hope is that that will help spread the message much broader than the 20 schools that we're even talking about. And then finally, with the 20 schools that we will work with initially, we will work to create a Students for Sustainability at each of those schools to really engage the students in whatever interest that is, whatever thing that they would like to take on. It could be doing a school garden. It could be planting trees. It could be cleaning up litter. It could be any number of different things. as well as possibly affecting their school board or their city council, as what's happened here in St. Louis Park, where I live. Young people came to, I was the chair of the Environment Sustainability Commission for the city, and young people came and they gave us a D rating on our work on climate. And that really spurred the city council to say, we need to do something. And we want to involve the students. And we did. We worked together and we created the toughest climate action plan in the state of Minnesota as a result, with that input from young people. So we want to empower those young people. And the great thing about this is that we have a number of wonderful college student interns that work with us from all over the country. And we're training those interns on actually doing the presentations. And so they not only will learn and grow from that, but we want them to become leaders at their school, in their community, or wherever it is that they end up working when they're done with college. And the whole idea is to try to make this as low cost as possible so it can be replicated across the country, because that's really what we need to do. We need to scale this so that we can have a much larger impact. So that's really the idea of the She Kindness campaign. And we're really committed with this young people's energy, which really is at our core, to really bring about fundamental systems change.
I love that, Terry. So it sounds like people can be involved in all sorts of ways. The best way to find out is to go to the Alliance for Sustainability, afors.org site.
Yes.
We have that actually, if you're watching the podcast, if you're watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Anchor, if you go to the Anchor site, you can find that also. It sounds like if someone's a teacher and they're interested in learning more about the campaign, you would welcome that.
Yes,
that conversation.
We really would, because we would love the teachers to review the materials we have, give input on those materials, but also possibly bring it into their school.
Yeah. Terry, I think you know that my sister is a teacher and she has the summer off now. So starting after this week, I think she would be happy to talk to you and review materials. She sometimes does the podcast with us. She runs the Facebook group that we have. So she's really involved in this, and I think would love the opportunity to review some of the materials.
We've communicated, and she was too busy during the school year. So we would very much like to have her. And we have this fabulous person, Jamie Cloud, with the Cloud Institute for Sustainability Education, which is the foremost national, sharer of information. So I would love to have, Bobby and Jamie be able to connect and look at what we're doing. And the other thing I didn't mention is that we have a fabulous intern that's been working with us and developing an ebook that will accompany the presentation. Helen Glover's been working on that, and we're really excited about that as well. And so there are just tremendous opportunities for people to get involved in a number of ways.
So, Terry, I think that it's, my feeling about this is that this is the time to do this, right? That there's no more waiting. There's no more, tomorrow, because tomorrow's being damaged. Like, we need to take care of the earth and each other now. We need equity now. We need sustainable living in all its forms now. Is that something the Alliance really supports as well?
Yes, it's really at the center of the work that we're doing, the policies that we're working on, the work we're doing with the schools, the work we're doing with businesses. We think it's absolutely essential. And the great thing about it, Lori, is I think you well know, is that this is fun. This is positive. This is not bad things to have to do. It's really inspiring. And I think what you've been doing with this series is fabulous. And that's the feeling I have when I watch it. And that's exactly the same kind of feeling with the Alliance. And just like what you've been talking about, we're trying to create a real community of people, whether they're members or they're following us on our social media channels, for the Alliance for Sustainability. We really believe that together we can bring about a fundamental change. And probably the best antidote for the feelings of overwhelm and all these challenges that we are looking at on so many different levels is actually to get involved. And whether it's with us or another organization is fine, but we really hope that people who are watching this podcast will really, be open to taking that next step and really helping make a difference.
Well, and I think one of the things we talk about all the time, which I know the Alliance talks about this as well, that alone we can each make a difference. We can definitely do something. But together we can make the difference that the world needs in order to survive and thrive. And
It,
so we are at the podcast, we're incredibly thankful to be involved with both Black Iowa News and with the Alliance for Sustainability. We're excited about the She Kindness campaign, and I look forward to, I'm on the board for the Alliance as well. And every time I see the materials, I'm excited about them. I think the schools and the business, all of that is just a wonderful way to make changes and encourage people to move forward. I also love that the newsletter has the simple tips that everyone can follow. So I think, follow the newsletter, go on to A4s, find out more about the She Kindness campaign and get involved. And as Terry said, if this isn't where you want to get involved somewhere else. But I would really encourage you to get involved here, because I think the Alliance is doing some amazing work and kind of just revitalizing themselves and becoming, and once again, at the sort of cutting edge of creating a sustainable future as they were 40 years ago when they launched. So
Thanks, Lori. And one thing that I've always appreciated about the podcast, and your perspective, which we have both really felt strongly about, is the importance of arts and culture, and really as a way of speaking to people that, I don't know if I'm into environment or whatever, those kinds of people, but who may be very inspired. So we always have an art of the week, and we have song of the week. And we really want those kinds of creative expressions. We have poetry, of all kinds of things in the newsletter. So it's really a lot of fun. And I think that's what makes the journey joyous, is to be able to really express ourselves in many, many different ways, shapes, and forms. So if you're interested in doing that, we would love to have any poetry or art or music or anything that anybody who's listening to this might want to share, stories, where we are always open and interested.
I love that. And we also are encouraging people, if you are listening to the podcast and you have thoughts for guests you'd like us to have on the podcast in the sustainability sphere, which is broad and wide, please be in touch with us. If you want to know more about the Alliance for Sustainability and need more information, please be in touch with us. And we will have people from the Alliance on about once a month. We're going to have somebody come on. It may be Terry, it may be one of the interns, it might be a board member, just to come on and say, here's what the Alliance did in the last month. These are our focuses. Here's one of the poems that we printed. I don't know what it'll be, but sort of tell them Alliance story of the month. So once a month, we'll have somebody on to do that. And we're really thankful for you, Terry, and for your involvement with the podcast and for all the work you do. I think the world is most decidedly better because you are here and have been here. And that's a wonderful thing. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks so much, Lori. The feelings are quite mutual, and we really hope that this podcast can keep growing and expand its audience, and that the incredibly positive message that you give can really be shared much, much more broadly, because that's the kind of shift that we really do need to bring about. So thank you for your work.
Everybody, thank you for listening. This again was Inclusivity Podcast. Please follow our Facebook group, join our Facebook group, Inclusivity Collaborative, and please go to the Alliance for Sustainability website and follow and get involved. We'd love to have you. And for everybody, we'll be back again next week with another, I think next week it'll be me, actually. I think I'm being interviewed by my co-host next week. So that will be fun for everyone, and a little challenging for me to be behind the interview question.
You'll do great.
I'll be fine. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Terry.